Hey guys, it's Chris with our everyday getaway, and we are fast approaching a new camping season. And Katrina and I wanted to share with you guys, based on our experience, the things you will need to get started. And we're gonna just really keep this simple, the basic item you're gonna want. So check this out. Hey, if this is your first time here to the channel, welcome, stick around. Check it out. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. If you're a regular subscriber, thanks for coming back. We want to share this information with you, so let's get started. We're going to start with everyone's favorite section, and that's the black tank. So we're going to go over here to the water bay, and we're going to show you what we have for a setup. One of the first things we're going to have here is we're going to have our Rhino sewer hoses. We prefer the Rhino products. They hold up for the most part. They do a pretty good job, but I want to show you a couple things. So we're going to open this up. Let's open up the water bay. And the first thing you're going to want is a good pair of gloves. Now, I have, believe it or not, I'm kind of funny like that. I have 3 different pair of gloves. I have a standard rubber gloves that I use. I have a pair of other work gloves, and I also use, I also have some latex gloves, which is actually my last resort because I really don't like using these, but that's just me. So you're gonna want a really good pair of gloves. So for now, I'm gonna use these gloves right here. So it's always nice to have some gloves when you're dealing with the sewer hoses. Now, another thing, when it comes to the sewer hoses, there are a couple different Rhino sewer hoses available. I'm going to tell you which one I like. I think it's important to have different lengths. We have 4 sets of Rhino hoses, which is about 40 feet. Some of them are 5 feet, some of them are 10 feet. But let me show you something real quick. When it comes to the hoses, okay, I have my favorite. I like these hoses right here, these Rhino hoses, because they're kind of like, they're flexible. And they're very easy to just set up. After you set them up, if you want to put them away, they're very easy to kind of compress them, shorten them up. Whereas this type of hose right here, not so much. Even though these are good hoses, but they don't hold that, they don't hold that form, if you will, to allow you to shorten these up and put them away. But they're still good hoses nonetheless. All right, another thing you want to do is I'm a fan of the clear connections. So we have a clear 45 coming out, and we also have the clear connection over at the end of the black tank dump area. This allows you to see what you're dumping. So you could go ahead and dump it, look at it, and then when you flush your system, you can keep an eye on how well you're cleaning out your system. We also have a flush system here that's built in. Right there, the black tank flush system. Now, they have something that's called a Flush King. And once again, your experience is going to vary based on the RV you have. We're in a Class A. Obviously, if you're in a trailer, or if you're in a 5th wheel, it's going to be different for you. You may not have one of these systems built in, and you may want to get the Flush King. And I'll put a link down below, and I'll show you the picture of it right here. You're going to attach the Flush King, and that's going to allow you to flush out your black tank system. So you could just connect the hose to it and flush the system out. We also have this Sidewinder. I am a fan of these Sidewinders. They help elevate the sewer hose off the ground. Some campgrounds do require you to have a Sidewinder to get that hose up off the ground. So this is another thing you're going to want to check into, you're going to want. So between the sewer hoses, the Sidewinder, and another thing I keep in mind for the black tank system, I keep a hose specifically made for flushing the black tank. I only use this for flushing the black tank and for washing out the sewer hoses when I'm done. So it's a separate item. That's something you're gonna want. You're gonna want a separate hose for that as well. As far as the, once again, you got the clear section here, which is nice to have. All right, and another thing to use is this adapter. Now, sometimes when you go to a campground, you may not be able to screw in your connection to the sewer connection. Having this device kind of is like an adapter. Some people will call it a donut, but it's an adapter. Comes in handy. We've yet to use one because we've yet to come across a park where it was required or we needed it. Keep one of these handy in case you come to a site where you cannot screw your connection in, and this will allow you to kind of modify that, if you will. So this is another helpful product to have. I'll leave a link below to all of the products that we talk about in this video. The next thing we want to talk about is power, and this is extremely important. Whether you have a 50 amp rig, which is what we have, or you have a 30 amp rig, you want a surge protector. Now, for those of you who have followed the channel, you know that Katrina and I bought the RV used. When we bought it, the previous owners left most of the hoses and the surge protectors with the RV. So we have a progressive surge protector. Okay, it's worked great. It works fine. This will protect you from any kind of power outage or lightning strikes or anything like that. Now, our first RV that we had was a 30 amp Class A RV. I had bought this 30 amp surge protector. I think it's a good thing to have both a 50 amp and a 30 amp because sometimes you will go to a campground and all they have is a 30 amp hookup. So you have to make it work. So what I'll do is obviously I'll have the 30 amp protector, surge protector, which I use as well if needed. So for any reason I go to a campground, there's 30 amp. Now, another thing you're gonna want are dog bones. I have multiple dog bones. So you're gonna want, if you have a 50 amp rig, you're gonna wanna get a dog bone to take you from 50 down to 30 or 50 down to 20 amp. I keep quite a few of those with me on the rig. I also have a reducer that'll take it from 30, that'll allow me to hook up the 50 amp. So I'll just put this in here, connect it, and then I can go ahead and hook up my 50 amp to the 30 amp, which reduces it down. You're gonna want a bunch of these. I've collected quite a few of them over the years. You see I got the 30 down to 20 amp. I do not have the 50 down to 20 amp. That's something I need to get, but you're gonna want a good amount of dog bones to take you from 50 down to 30 or from 30 down to 20. I'll put a link down in the description below. It's imperative to have these things. They'll help you out quite a bit. And as I said, I got about, 5 or 6 of them. The next thing is the water system, water hoses. Now, you're gonna want a water hose specifically for your water hookup, and you're gonna want a separate hose for your black tank. So I'm gonna show you, and the filter system as well. So Katrina and I kind of keep it simple. We don't have an elaborate water filtration system. We have this standard filter to get, pretty simple, easy, cut and dry. We do have an inline filter, and we also have a Berkey inside. We don't drink a lot of water from the spigot, from the water source, if you will. We will from time to time, but we do have 3 filter systems: the inline filter, we have this filter, and we also use the Berkey. So you're gonna want, this is basic standard stuff. This is a step up from the blue one. Once again, I'll put a link down in the description below. But I think with this filter system, you should be okay, especially if you're not drinking the water. If you're showering with the water, if you're using the water to wash dishes, you're okay, you're fine. And if you want to bring bottled water to start out with, that's good. Now, as you go along in your full-time RV journey, or even if you're part-timers, you can get a more elaborate system, a more elaborate 3-filter system set up outside. You could do all that later. But once again, this is just to get you started, the basics that you need just to get started. Another thing you're going to want is a water regulator. Now, there are a couple different kind of regulators. This is my second one, and the first one here has failed. This gauge is no longer working, so I went ahead and I got a second one. So this is an adjustable one where you can adjust the water pressure coming into your RV. You can also do a straight inline regulator, which I think this is set for like 50 psi, I believe, which will work. It's not a problem. We also have a splitter set up on here, and I also have a save a drop water meter, which I like. And let me just tell you about that real quick. I like that because this is split off to the side for flushing my black tank. My black tank is 50 gallons. I can set this up. It'll let me know how many gallons of water are going into the black tank, so I don't have to guess, or I don't have to go inside and look at the monitor. It's very easy, very cheap. Once again, we'll put a link down below. It's a nice cheap addition to have, especially if you want to put a splitter on here. So once again, we got the regulator, and we got the filter, we got the Save a Lot meter reader. And another thing, I'm not a fan of your standard hoses. They're extremely difficult to wrap up and take care of when it's cold outside. So we like the 0G hoses. All right, these are very nice, easy to store, easy to take care of. I know they did a video some time ago about bacteria creating and building up inside these hoses. I don't know if there's any truth to that. It was kind of 50-50 depending on who you listen to. I love these things. They're very easy. They keep it simple by allowing you to fold these up nice and easy. I'll show you this real quick. So I got this hose right here, and let me bring this out. Now, this hose came with the RV. We never use this hose. This hose is a pain in the butt to take care of, to wrap up. It's got a kink in it. You never have to, you don't worry about that when you're using the 0G's hoses. I think those are the way to go. Now remember, keep your hoses separated. The hose you're gonna use to fill up your water connection, don't use that to clean out your black tank hoses, to clean out your black tank flush system. Keep them separated. So you're gonna wanna have probably 3 or 4 hoses. Well, I have 2 0G 25-foot hoses, so 50 foot should work, should be okay. I'm sure some of you have come across a site even farther. We have not, based on our experience, and keep a separate hose for your black tanks. Another thing we want to talk about are leveling blocks. Now, I have a set of plastic leveling blocks right here. Once again, we had these from our first RV. I really don't use these a lot with our current RV because it's heavier. I will use these if push comes to shove if I need to. These are nice to have to help you level, especially those of you who have a trailer and those of you who have a fifth wheel. What we use on our diesel pusher are, let me get them out. I have some pressure treated blocks. You're looking at, you know, 8 inches wide pressure treated blocks, which I use. These have come in very handy for us. I like these better. They can handle the weight. They're more sturdy. I feel more comfortable using these. I cut a few of these up on my own, and they work great. So you can use these, the blocks if you want, or you can use the plastic leveling blocks. They also come in handy when it comes to, sometimes I've used them to support the hose. If I have an area, show you guys real quick. If I have an area where I can't use the Sidewinder in there, if you will, if I can't use the support, I'll put some blocks in here and it'll help hold the hose and hold the weight. So these come in handy. These are good to have for leveling and just all around securing or building up or bridging up something you may have anywhere, whether it's your hose, whether it's your sewer hose or your water hose. So these are nice to have. Another thing are chalks. Now, I bought these plastic chalks years ago when we had our first RV. I have since learned that this is not the way to go. Don't know if you guys realize this or not. These have an expiration date on them. So they may look good, they may appear to be good, but if you look on the side here, there is an expiration date. I'm not sure if you can see that. There's an expiration date on these. So I think you're better off going with some really good rubber chalks. And once again, I'll put a link in the description down below. We have these, we don't use them. We did with our first RV. Whether you know it or not, they do have an expiration date on them. So be very careful of this, be mindful of this. It's about safety, safety first. If these have an expiration date, which they do, you may not want to purchase these. Go ahead and spend the extra money to get some good rubber chalks. Another thing we want to recommend, it's important for safety. These are LED flares that we have. Thankfully, we've yet to use them. Very easy to use. I don't know if you guys can see that, but these things will flash, and you can set up all kinds of, well, let's come over here. Let's come over here in the shade. These require 3 AAA batteries. So, and as you can see, you could do all kinds of different, you could do all kinds of different settings. See? To safety, you can set these up. You can set these up if you're on the side of the road. They have a little magnet on the back, and they also have a little hook device. So if you need to hook them, let them hang, these things are great. It'll get your attention as you're driving down the road if it's late at night. So we suggest these, we recommend these, and once again, thankfully, we've never used these. Also, another nice thing to have are these collapsible cones. Very easy to store, take care of, just pop them out. Look, how nice is that? Just set up the cones. You can just set them up, nice and easy, and when you're done with them, how about that? Bada bing, bada boom, it's good to go. You can store it, put it away, really nice to have. So that's a safety thing. You were to want those. God forbid you should ever break down on the side of the road. You want to make sure you have some cones and some flares to set up on the side of the road. Another great feature that we strongly believe in, and they are not sponsors of this video, one of the very first things we got when we bought our first RV and this RV, snap pads. We love them, we think they're great, we think they're worth the investment. Take a look down here. Love those snap pads. They've been great. I know some folks, we did a video on that. I'll put a link in the description. Actually, I'll put a link above where we did a review of snap pads. We love them. We think they're well worth the money, the investment. Some folks would prefer to just put some sort of pad under their stabilizer, which is cool, which is fine. We think these just make everything a little easier, and they're well worth the investment. If we ever bought another rig, that would be one of the first things we would do is buy a snap pad. We just like them. All right, guys, those are some of the items that we think you would need when you're starting out. Now, keep in mind, we're just kind of keeping this simple, something to start out with, very easy to get these. You can upgrade a lot of things as you go along in your journey, but these are the things that will get you started. We also want to touch on a few other things.
We do?
Yes, we do. Some of you who are riding around and who drive fifth wheels and travel trailers, you're going to want some Anderson leveling blocks. We don't use those. Obviously, we don't need those. I'll show you what they look like right here. You can check them out. Those are something you're going to want. From my understanding, they do make leveling your trailer and your fifth wheel much easier, but I can't speak to that.
We could if we got a trailer.
Yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening. No, it's not happening anytime soon. No.
Come on.
You know, most of these items are basic needs items. It will vary from RV to RV. So if you're in a travel trailer or a fifth wheel, you're going to need a few different things. Okay. Things that we don't have. A few other things, because safety for us is very important. Would you agree? Yes. Of course. Thanks for. Of course. Of course. A few things. A tire pressure monitoring system is very important. We have this.
Do you want me to be the
sorry.
spokesmodel? Can you want me to hold that like this?
Yes. Can you do that? Do that? You look good enough to be a spokesmodel.
Oh,
but we
thanks.
have the tire pressure monitoring system, the tire minder. I think that's important. It's a safety issue. You can't put, when it comes to safety, safety first. I was the same way on a job site when we worked. So you're gonna want a good tire pressure monitoring system. This is the tire pressure monitoring system we use. I forget, I'll put a link down below. I'll let you know which one it is we use. I can't remember the exact name and model, but it's been fantastic. It's worked really well for us. Tire pressure monitoring system should be high on the list. Safety first. Another thing that we have here is the Garmin RV 890, my spokesmodel. Thank you. Thank you, Vanna. Don't need to turn any letters, but yes, this GPS has been, or this Garmin system has been fantastic.
Awesome.
It hasn't failed us yet. So we use this, very happy with it. It's well worth it. Once again, I'll put a link down below. These are not, no one is sponsoring this video whatsoever. This is our way of sharing with you some valuable information, things that we think, you know, will help make your RV travels much easier. And
This is awesome.
yes, it is.
By the way, this is a must.
It has yet to fail us. It's been, you know, fantastic. So there you have it. Those are the things we, these items and this, you know, these products and stuff, we have experience with them. We're sharing it with you, and we believe in them, and they've worked for us so far down the road, right?
Yes.
Anything else from my spokesmodel?
No.
You have anything else you want to say? Is
No,
there
I'm
anything else
good.
you want to? Once again, guys, if this is your first time to the channel, please consider subscribing. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You'll be notified every time we release a video. If you liked the video and found the video helpful, please give us a thumbs up. And yeah, it's been great, and we hope that you guys found this information very valuable and helpful. And remember, any day you can get away is a great day. You guys take care.
Take care, guys.
Thank you. I messed up.
See ya.
I messed up. We'll do that again.
Oh, jeez.